Black Mirror's Star Trek parody is great, but I'm convinced this 26-year-old spoof is still unmatched. In 2017, Black Mirror delivered one of its most celebrated and surprisingly heartfelt episodes in USS Callister, a darkly comedic and psychologically disturbing Star Trek-inspired tale of power, identity, and digital autonomy. With cinematic flair and razor-sharp satire, the episode lovingly mimicked the aesthetic of classic Star Trek while exploring deeply modern anxieties about tech culture and toxic fandom. It was instantly hailed as one of the series' best and even won multiple Emmys. But as much as I admire USS Callister and its clever dissection of nerd narcissism, I can't help but feel that another Star Trek parody did it better long before Black Mirror ever uploaded someone's consciousness. I'm talking about 1999's Galaxy Quest. Yes, Galaxy Quest. That goofy sci-fi comedy starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, and Alan Rickman. A film that, on paper, looked like a throwaway spoof but turned out to be a masterclass in parody, character development, and sincere fandom celebration. More than 2 decades later, Galaxy Quest remains not only one of the greatest sci-fi comedies of all time, but arguably the most respectful and emotionally resonant satire of Star Trek and its sprawling legacy. USS Callister, a brilliant mirror with a dark reflection. Let's give credit where it's due. USS Callister is brilliant. Jesse Plemons plays Robert Daly, a gifted but socially awkward game developer who retreats into a virtual simulation of a Star Trek-like universe where he's the captain, and his coworkers are digital copies of themselves, trapped and forced to obey his every command. The episode takes a jarring twist from homage to horror, examining how the outwardly meek can become tyrants when given unchecked power, especially in a space where they can play God. It's a potent metaphor for online toxicity and the cult of entitlement some fans build around beloved franchises. Callister doesn't just mock Star Trek, it deconstructs it. Its production is top-notch. The faux Starfleet uniforms, bridge design, cheesy dialogue, and over-the-top monologues all hit the exact note of affectionate mimicry. Even the score is evocative of the grandiose orchestral music of classic sci-fi TV. But despite its creative brilliance, USS Callister is ultimately a dark satire. It uses Star Trek as a lens to explore control, repression, and vengeance. It is brilliant and biting, but cold. It deconstructs Trek. It doesn't love it. Which is why Galaxy Quest still has the edge. Galaxy Quest, a love letter wrapped in laughter. At first glance, Galaxy Quest might look like a silly romp. The story follows the washed-up cast of a canceled sci-fi show clearly modeled after Star Trek, who are mistaken for real space heroes by an alien race that has modeled their entire civilization on reruns of the show. The actors, initially jaded and cynical, are thrown into an actual space adventure where their fake roles become very real. But underneath the absurd premise lies a film with genuine affection for its source material. Galaxy Quest doesn't mock Star Trek and its fandom, it honors them. Rather than using parody as a scalpel to dissect the genre, it uses it as a paintbrush, coloring a new story with recognizable tropes, cliches, and archetypes. It pokes fun at the absurdities of sci-fi conventions like shirtless captains, meaningless techno-babble, and the expendability of redshirt crew members, but it never ridicules them. In fact, the film's true villains aren't the aliens or the ludicrous technology. It's the actors' own egos, apathy, and misunderstanding of the very fans who love them. Fans as heroes, not punchlines. This is where Galaxy Quest soars past USS Callister. In Callister, fans are dangerous. Daly's obsession with a sci-fi world turns him into a virtual dictator, cruel and narcissistic. The fandom is a backdrop to an ego-driven nightmare. In Galaxy Quest, fans save the day. The character of Brandon, played by Justin Long in his film debut, a devoted superfan of the fictional show, is portrayed with both humor and heartfelt sincerity. He's a little awkward, sure, but his knowledge of the show's lore is vital to the hero's survival. The film doesn't just acknowledge fandom, it celebrates it. It says, yes, this stuff matters. And for millions of sci-fi fans who've spent years being ridiculed for their passion, that message lands with genuine power. It also subtly critiques the way actors often distance themselves from the genre that made them famous. Tim Allen's Jason Nesmith begins the film drunk on nostalgia and ego, doing half-hearted appearances at conventions. But by the end, he's reborn not just as a character, but as someone who understands that what they did mattered. That's not just parody. That's poetry. Alan Rickman's heartbreaking gravity. And then there's Alan Rickman, whose role as Alexander Dane, a classically trained thespian stuck playing an alien with a prosthetic forehead, may be the soul of the film. His catchphrase, "By Grabthar's hammer, you shall be avenged," is first delivered with contempt and sarcasm. But in one pivotal scene, when he comforts a dying alien crewmate, Rickman utters the line with sincerity and heartbreak. It's a moment of emotional resonance that no one expected from a sci-fi spoof. That single beat says more about the strange alchemy of science fiction, its capacity to merge the ridiculous and the profound, than entire series have managed. It's something USS Callister, for all its brilliance, never quite pulls off. The meta-message of redemption. If USS Callister is a story about the abuse of power, Galaxy Quest is a story about redemption. The actors redeem themselves. The fake captain becomes a real leader. The cynical sidekick finds his inner hero. Even the alien Thermians, who seem like comedic props at first, are shown to be deeply emotional beings whose belief in humanity is both inspiring and humbling. And perhaps most importantly, Galaxy Quest offers redemption to the sci-fi genre itself. In 1999, Star Trek had gone through ups and downs. Fans were divided. The golden era seemed to be waning. Galaxy Quest arrived not to bury it, but to remind us why we loved it in the first place. By contrast, USS Callister critiques not only sci-fi tropes, but those who love them too much. It's brilliant and necessary in an age of toxic gatekeeping and fan entitlement, but it also risks throwing the warp core out with the dilithium. Legacy and impact. In the years since, Galaxy Quest has grown in stature. It's beloved by both casual viewers and hardcore Trekkies. A 2023 Star Trek poll even ranked it as one of the top Star Trek movies, despite it technically not being part of the franchise. Think about that. Fans voted a parody film into the pantheon of the real thing. That's not just admiration, it's acceptance. There's even a Galaxy Quest TV series reportedly in development at Paramount+. Its influence is undeniable. Meanwhile, USS Callister has been more of a one-off. A masterpiece of an episode, sure, but not something people revisit with warm feelings. It's a warning, not a hug. Why Galaxy Quest still wins? Ultimately, the reason Galaxy Quest remains unmatched is because it understands something essential about Star Trek and sci-fi at large. It's not just about lasers and warp drives. It's about hope, community, and belief in something better. It knows that sometimes pretending to be a hero is the first step to becoming one. USS Callister exposes the dark side of living out fantasies. Galaxy Quest shows us the light. So while Black Mirror may have crafted a chilling, timely Star Trek parody that explores the perils of digital godhood, Galaxy Quest did something harder. It told a